Food and weight obsession can be exhausting. Losing weight, gaining weight, dieting, feeling like a failure because you missed a workout, binged, overate, or gained all the weight back. The cycle is endless and it can be maddening. But I'm here to say you can stop the mental madness. You can take back control of your food behaviors, but you have to face your fears, you have to ask for help, and make a change. I am Leslie M. Thornton, permanent weight loss coach from HPWL.co. This is hypnosis for permanent weight loss, and I know you can make this happen. On this podcast, you will hear how to stop the mental madness, love your body, trust your food decisions so you can create a life of happiness, freedom, and inner peace. Hypnosis for permanent weight loss as a spiritual practice. I have done some episodes in the past that have illustrated what I intend to convey in this podcast episode today. And I feel like it's been a while and there's been some new, ideas, developments, conversations that have been going on in my world with that I wanted to share with you and, to really help you as the listener have a full understanding around why you can't get permanently free from yo-yo dieting, from constantly thinking about food, from not being able to achieve your weight loss goals. I know how frustrating that can be. I actually spoke with a potential client last week. She's a nurse. And to be honest, I feel like she came onto the conversation a little like not really planning on the conversation being so powerful. But as she started so amazingly, authentically sharing, we really got down to the root that for her, the time when she really started focusing on weight was a time in her life when she was around 9 years old and her father passed away. She also experienced, there was like a tornado in her town, and she started experiencing panic attacks. And when we continued to talk, she was saying how there's nothing worse to her than those panic attacks, that they literally, and what I said to her is consider your whole life has been geared around your not feeling that emotional pain, that not having that fear or that experience of panic attacks. You know, she felt like you feel like you're just about to die and you can't breathe and all these types of things. And I see this all the time that so our unconscious mind's job is to keep us safe. So it takes emotional pain, fear, anxiety, anger, whatever it is, as a threat to your survival. And so we unconsciously will put in these coping mechanisms. One is thinking all the time, constantly trying to strategize how, right? And it's actually you're trying to control your weight, but what's actually happening is you're trying to control the emotionality that's underneath. You're trying to make sure that you don't have to tap on the source of that fear, of that anxiety, of that pain, which is so innocent. It's human, but really can have it be where you have a major obstacle when it comes to permanent weight loss, being done with this, all that kind of stuff. Now, with that said, there's still the acknowledgement of yes, and I want to lose weight. It's yes. I always say this. We absolutely want you to lose weight. And this gets into the deeper segment of this podcast today on using this work as a spiritual practice. Now, I'm not Buddhist, but I have friends who are, and I'm close with them. And so I know that a major part of Buddhism is non-attachment. And just as a practice in general, as human beings, Buddhists or not, practicing non-attachment is such an incredible way to live your life, gateway to freedom, peace, happiness, joy, full blown self-expression, all of the authenticity, all of the good things that make our existence feel worth it, feel great. And this past weekend, I was having a conversation with my dad, who's actually been reading a spiritual teacher stuff, Joseph Campbell, if you know the name. I guess it's on Spotify. And It's his teachings from way back. I can't remember. He was very early on, early 1900s or something that he did his teachings. And my dad was talking about the 7 chakra systems, energy systems in the body. Again, if you're not familiar with that, there's different energy systems in the body, and there's the lower one. It's all kind of like following up your spine. The lowest one is your root chakra, and that's supposed to be like kind of connecting you to physicality and all the root aspects as a human being, right? Just rooting you into the earth, physicals. And then the next chakra up is going into more of like the liquids in your body, creativity, sex, all these types of things. The third one up is the electricity in your body. So your heart beats based on electricity. So that's why we need potassium to have our heart beats, because there's actually electricity going on. All the different elements that actually we have electricity going on in our body automatically. Is how I always think that's very cool. So what my dad was saying is that those 3 lower initial chakras are very ego-driven, very human. Yeah, they're very, like that root chakra is also connected with survival. So getting our survival needs met. And then as you go higher up, then you have the heart chakra. So it's like now you're getting out of kind of like human physicality and ego, and then getting into like how we experience when we feel like our heart is very open. We have a different experience, right? If you feel just like very openly connected, you can kind of tell that the energy is kind of lightening up and spreading out when you feel love. And then as you go up like into your neck, there's another chakra there. And as you go up, it gets higher and higher, like into the ethers, like into, just like source consciousness, being one with all, everything like that. And he was saying how, human beings, we can so often get very stuck in those lower chakras, and we never are living from the heart, or we're never like connected to source consciousness because we're so stuck down there. And I was loving this conversation that he had started with me. And the reason why is because like, this is my work. And what I said to him was how with hypnosis for permanent weight loss, we're really supporting people to get out of those lower chakras and to get out of that survival mode and like those human concerns, what other people think, and the judgments and all the ego kind of thinking, just become more aware of it. But then again, getting to a place of non-attachment. Yeah, so the analogy I always make is, we've heard so many people say that they really wanted to find their soulmate or attract their soulmate. And the second that they actually said, I'm good on my own, genuinely, and felt complete, that's when their soulmate came in. So that's what happens every time that we're non-attached to something. If you make the goal, like I was talking on the podcast last week, it's like, yes, we want the weight loss, but then the non-attachment piece of just letting that go. As soon as people, start the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss Fast Track to Freedom program, and I was just telling my clients this a few weeks ago, it's like it's already done. Like just by you putting that energy into the universe and making a decision of like, I'm going to learn how to get past this for good, or whatever your intention is, like it will happen. It can't not happen. Yeah, and that's why coaching containers are so cool, because they're literally designed to have like it bring all of the stuff up so that you can actually look at it, heal it, move through it, and then get into those higher chakra systems of the body when you start to feel that inner peace, that happiness, that joy, that freedom, that contentment, like those beautiful heart-connected relationships and relationship with self, etc. And my belief is that good health comes from that, of being connected to self, of living more from your heart, of being more connected to all that is. And it's not that you don't sometimes go into the human, but it's still having that awareness that, this is human, this is the attachment, this is not who I am, this is not me, to be able to get out of that. And so sometimes what that journey looks like is there's a lot of, kicking and screaming and saying, this is wrong, and I'm going to gain weight, and oh my God, I got triggered like this, and da, da, da. It's like, it's always going to happen as you're in a transformational process. There's going to be a lot of challenges that you're going to see. There's going to be a lot of, emotions that come up because you're really healing something that's been with you probably since you were very young. It was probably handed down to you from your dieting parents or emotionally unavailable parents. That leads you to kind of feel stuck in that way. So my experience of this was that is, and of all of it, it's like when you actually put your hands in the air and say, I'm going to heal this. And the way to do that is to let go of those false safety structures. Yeah. So a diet is a false safety structure. The metaphor, if you haven't listened to the podcast episode that I did on metaphors for food freedom, you can go back and check that out. It's probably 10 or so ago. But the metaphor of the log in the river. So if you're drowning in the river and you see a log, you're going to hold on to that log for dear life. And so consider that the diet is the log that you're hanging on to for dear life because you don't want to experience the panic of what if I don't make it to shore. But it's like, so basically this container is supporting you to like feel safe enough to let go of the log, experience the panic of not having the safety net of the log there with you, and then effectively supporting you to get to the other side. That other side being a space where you normally and naturally eat in moderation, you don't have a negative relationship with food, you allow all foods, you make empowered choices for yourself, you have energy, you have consistency, you have motivation, and definitely no behaviors anymore of, crazy emotional eating or binging, or all of those really exacerbated ones go away. And what's beautiful about that is then you can actually open up to the next thing that's there for you, because there's always a next thing. A lot of my clients will like start feeling free, and then all of a sudden they're like, all like relationship stuff will start coming up and these types of things. And it's like, okay, well, let's just also acknowledge the fact that like your brain's not fixated on food right now. And like, so you're doing great there. And now we're actually, getting to deepen this work and getting to really have it positively impact every area of your life. So for me, it was like healing the food thing. And then it was definitely healing the relationship thing and healing the money thing. And I know not everybody's life purpose is to gain emotional freedom in every area of life. But I know that for me, that's true. And like healing generational wounding, trauma, whatever you want to call it, is what I am out to do. It's what I'm inspired to do. It's who I am. And I can also say that the journey is more than gratifying. It's like literally my favorite thing ever to just watch the growth and the transformation happen consistently year after year after year. I saw a post recently that was saying like, we didn't come here, on earth just for something. It's like we came here to grow. Yeah. And, what I see is that people clinging on to the dieting is a place that is 100% stunting our ability to actually grow and to do what our souls actually came here to do. And consider that whatever is something that keeps you up at night, whether that's food, body, and weight, it's money, it's relationship stuff, like that's your soul kind of tapping on the window saying like, hey, this is this is how I am cueing to you that there are things going on in the background and your unconscious that are in the way of your soul, evolving to a place where you can have a bigger, better, happier, more connected life, free from constant worrying about your weight and what other people think and dieting and what have you. And it's just a beautiful thing. Something that my dad was also sharing was how I guess even prior to that, what I was also saying, and I've shared it with my NLP practitioners before, but in A Course of Miracles, is a spiritual text. It talks about how the first chapter says, and I grew up Catholic, and so there's always in the Catholic of like the second coming of Jesus, and we're waiting for Jesus, and we're waiting for Jesus. So in the Course of Miracles, what it writes is that in the very beginning, that where Catholics or Christians got it wrong is that they're waiting for the second coming of Jesus, like there's going to be the man that comes back. But it's like what we actually meant by that is when human beings wake up to realizing that they have within them everything that Jesus modeled to us. And in my in my mind, it's like Jesus was a model of how he was living consistently from his heart and connected to God. Like he was the example, regardless of your belief system, can even look at Jesus as a historical figure in what was written in the Bible as a biblical text, or the, the Old Testament in general. Like the Torah is, all like just looking at those principles and stuff. It's like, and that's what my dad was saying, is like all religions and all faiths are pointing to the same thing. And it's like 100%. So, but yeah, like modeling that it is possible for us to do this and do this when we get out of our lower, human, whatever, not to say that lower is worse, because it's not. It's like that is also something to be embraced as human beings, that we have ego and we have, I also heard something the other day that was talking about how we go through a phase where you're aware of the fact that you're you're eating the wrong food, and then you're mad at yourself for eating the wrong food, but then you're mad at yourself for being mad at yourself. So it's like, anyway, so it's ego fighting ego. And part of the healing journey is also like learning to love the ego and not trying to like get it out of here, or saying like, oh, this is making my life so terrible because I have an ego. It's just like integrating that part of you and like having a relationship that's healthy with that part of you, and immediately like forgiving, accepting, loving that part of you. And, so there isn't that drama that can also keep you stuck when you're judging yourself for being a human, so that's also part of it as well. So the talking about that. And so with hypnosis, with timeline therapy, with neurolinguistic programming, like everything that I'm teaching, it's literally how to get people, it's like a very quick, efficient way to get you out of those base, chakras that you might be stuck in, ego stuff and thinking and self-judgment and shame and fear and anxiety, and into, the connection with all that is, which when you become one with all that is, one with God, one with the universe, like that's when you can really create with God, with the universe, like as someone that's collaborating with both. And it's just such an awesome thing. And definitely for myself, like seeing in this business, I've shared before about like the pendulum swinging. So it's like went all the way masculine of like doing all the right things and making sure X, Y, and Z was taken care of, and X, Y, Z, just cookie cutter, follow the book. This is what coach says kind of thing. And then swinging over into the masculine, right? The feminine, having that experience of just like, oh, like just, let's just surrender and see how it all goes and whatever, which is can be painful, and you have to face a lot of fears. But like now I'm seeing with this business of like, since I've done the work of integration of both of those aspects, like this integration of me trusting myself, of like, I now know the masculine constructs and structures that work. And I also know the feminine principles that also work. And so then it's like the beautiful collaboration of both. And then working with like the intuition, working with the different things to deliver, on the best, material for my clients to really support their transformation. And part of that is also for myself, like learning how to communicate. I remember I had one woman say, like, looking at your website, I am not present to the fact that this work is so, consciousness work, expanding consciousness work, and even spiritual at times, and bringing in all of those things to, again, get out of that attachment phase and into the heart and into the mind, or into the connection with all that is. Yeah, so for myself, just like continuing to get better and better, to deliver that message, to be able to support more people with transformation. And it's so awesome to see all of the little resources that I get, little nudges that I get. Like, it always comes in right at the exact time of like, it's like, oh, okay. And it's just our job to be able to listen. So what I say to my clients when it comes to food, body, and weight is like, consider that when you are so stuck in those lower centers, or in the ego of like, oh, I need to lose weight and I need to do it fast. And why isn't this happening yet? And oh my God, I look so bad in this bathing suit. And I hate the way I look in the mirror. And, all of this, the tape that we play all the time. Like, we need to just actually quiet that tape down for a little. We need to feel some of the feelings that are underneath that tape, which is why the tape keeps playing. And then when you start to reach a state of more peace around this area of your life, I have a private client right now, and we were talking about, like, she came to our last call and like, but I still want to lose weight. And it's like, yes, I 100% know, like, we're supporting you and all the things. But like, I know with my intuition of like when someone's actually like ready for that, or like you'll see that it's not coming from this like need to, have to, what happens if I don't, fear, anxiety. It's like, I'm good the way I am. Yes, I would like to lose some weight. I'm not super happy with my body, but I appreciate and respect how I've gotten here. I know that I, have been on this journey, and I'm grateful I have the support in this way now. Like, I think I'm awesome for doing that. So from this space, what do I want to do to support myself to feel better now? Right? Like, that is just like, that's where it's really like aligned and everything. So that's why with our heal method, so the first part is the hypnosis and the emotional mastery to quiet down the mind, to feel some of the stuff underneath the tape. Then from the space of more space, now we can actually start to listen and hear that intuition. You can actually start to pay attention to the nudges and see that the universe is always trying to help you at all times. But if we're just got to get ourselves out of the way. So yeah, it's just really incredible. So something that you can do, I've said this before, is like, ask yourself, when was the time in your life when you started paying attention to your weight and being, maybe the first time you started a diet, or it's like, what was actually going on in that time of your life? I had a private client yesterday, did an NLP personal breakthrough session, was talking about they loved playing tennis, and then they started gaining weight when they were in 7th grade or something like that. And they hated the way that their body felt on the court. And so they just quit at that point. And I had another client who was saying how when she first started dieting was when she was hitting puberty. And in that time, she was really scared about boys not being attracted to her. And so her mom kind of poo-pooed her away. The other client that I had, like, didn't have any, emotional support from parents. And so, but at the time, with what she was able to do, she actually just went to her mom and said, do I need to lose weight? And her mom said, oh, you could. So then her, unformed brain just immediately started taking on the project of like, I need to lose weight. And without knowing it, it's like, in order to be accepted. And then at 60 whatever years old, you're still banging that drum trying to lose weight so that you'll be accepted. But it's like, you're already accepted. And so that need wasn't met as a child. So now you're unconsciously talking about weight all the time. But what you're really saying is, can someone give me the emotional validation that I need? Can someone be there for me in the way that I really need right now? But we don't know that until you have this kind of deeper conversation to kind of look at the deeper constructs. And like, full disclosure, as I was talking about with like marketing, it's like, I'm not the best at communicating this entire journey. I think that's why the podcast has been good for me, to actually just like share what's going on in real time, to give you guys that taste. And I'm definitely working currently on like how to communicate this whole process better. Because I know that like I am the obstacle preventing the whole world from seeing dieting as such an outdated thing. Like, let's put all, like, my job will be done when the dieting companies no longer exist, because they do not work for people. It's a tragedy that, that we continue to do that, when people really need to, look at some of these things, at least simultaneously. There can be good things about learning, what is a way to eat and how it feels to eat those things and all of that kind of stuff. And there's always that deeper construct. So what that mom could have done for that client of mine was say, when she said, "Hey mom, do I need to lose weight?" She would have been like, what makes you think about that? Why do you think that you may need to lose weight? And it's like, you might say like, well, I noticed that the girls who are skinnier in class are getting more attention from boys and I'm not. Well, now it's the conversation of being like, oh my gosh, honey, I'm so sorry that's happening. How does that make you feel? It's like, well, I'm sad about it. Like, I feel like I'm lesser than or something. Maybe some tears come out. It's like, honey, you're not lesser than. Like, you're absolutely gorgeous. Like, you might have a different body type, but you never have to change anything that you're doing for anyone else. Like, if you want to make new choices for yourself because you're, could feel better or whatever, like, that's one thing. But doing it because you feel like you need to be something else than what you are is like a no, So if that conversation had happened, like at 60 years old, this person would not still be spending tens and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on who's going to actually help me lose weight. And every single attempt has failed. And it's because, and this is what I said to her, is like, consider that you actually, like, your highest self does not actually care about being skinny. Like, your highest self, like, is this like amazing soul who came on this planet to teach other humans, how to operate powerfully and be connected to heart and source. And this is the one area that you're not, and like, so I just see such an opportunity for this particular person to like throw that story out that she has a weight problem, right? And I've said that to another client of mine. It's just like, your homework is to actually never again say that you have a problem with your weight. Like, you don't have a problem, right? It's like, I get that your behaviors and your feelings around food and your weight make it, right, seem like there's absolutely a problem, and society says the number on the scale is the problem. Like, I get all of that. And, like, how is your body doing right now? Like, how's your lab work? How are you feeling day to day? Like, are you aligned in other areas? Like, everybody's body is completely different. This woman specifically, it's like, she's such a beautiful presence and like, yeah, a little bigger stature. And like, it's like part of like her presence. And it's like, not that we don't want to support her to get healthy, but again, like, it's inauthentic for her to be chasing and to be saying, this is the answer, or this is what I need to do in order to be accepted and happy and free. It's not true. It's like, okay, actually we need to throw it on its head, and we need to support your younger self to actually feel loved and accepted and free today. And then once that's happening, again, you can hear, and then you'll be given what you need to be given to, support whatever your goal is, whether that's weight loss or anything else. So yeah, that's, a bit of the spiritual component, but, with hypnosis and all that kind of stuff, it's like all the work, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work that I, have supported with in the past and have, followed, like, of spontaneous healings, it was like Jesus in the Bible spontaneously, healed the man who couldn't walk and the person who couldn't see who was blind. Like, if we actually got to that level of hypnosis and healing, and like, you could tell that he was like also communicating belief into these people. Like, one of the stories I think in James is the family coming and saying, you need to come, our brother is dying, like he's immediately dying. And Jesus says something to the effect of like, you silly people, like, or go back to your brother. He'll live. He is going to live. And then they went back, and like, since the whole family had that belief system instilled in them that he will live, right? And like, whatever told the brothers, just like immediately from that point that Jesus, said your brother will live, like, that's when he started to do better. So the point is like the inner conversations you're having with yourself of like, I'm happy, thriving, and free. I'm lean, strong, and healthy, like in the positive, and focusing on the good, focusing on what you want, not focusing on all the negativity. Like, if you continue focusing on the negativity, then you keep getting more negativity, keep getting more of what you don't want. So, but the negativity is valid. You can't override it and just like start only saying positive things all the time. Like, you need to actually acknowledge when the negativity is there. So, yeah, that being kind of the process that you go through. But like, when you master that, NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy, like, you allow yourself to get out of the non-attachment. One other thing my Buddhist friend talks about with non-attachment is how, and I've heard this in other ways that's not in a Buddhist way, that like, it also is important to say yes to your humanly desires, in order to break free from those attachments. So, for example, like, I had to say yes, and my clients get to say yes to what they actually want to eat and how much they want to eat, like hearing my one client say, like, it's so liberating just to say like that I like Pop-Tarts. Another client saying like, oh, it's so amazing that I can go to Chick-fil-A and I just love it. It feels so good. Like, I'm, whatever. It's like when you can actually say yes to your desires and what you actually want. Like, yes, it can bring up some of those fears or the weight gain or whatever, but it is the way to freedom. Like, actually saying yes and to not, continue trying to stifle yourself is how you stay stuck. And that goes with, money things. Like, if you say yes to having and buying all the things that you actually desire, right? This last year, it was me saying yes to, I really always wanted to have a lake house to invest for my family. I always wanted to like have better branding for the business and better modules and all this. And I said yes, and I just started putting everything on the credit card. But prior to that, like, the money, like, it was kind of like I was on a diet of holding on to it and like, okay, well, I need to make sure I can pay the team and da-da-da. But it was like, I challenged myself to actually say yes to the desires. And yes, it brought all my stuff up. The same way when I said yes to all my desires with food, the weight gain brought all my stuff up. And on the other side of that was the non-attachment, right? It was like, first of all, self-trust of like, I did get out of that debt. And, now have learned all these new lessons associated with, the challenges. And I had support during that time to make sure I wasn't just in a, not good situation. I was always fine. And sometimes our inner experience is we don't feel fine. But having someone who's been there to, to hold your hand through it. And that's what we do here in the program for our clients. So that, again, you can let go of that false sense of safety of the diet, right? And then actually safely swim to the other side. And it is possible to get there. It is possible to experience food freedom, to not have to think about this anymore. It is possible to have your weight go down to whatever size that it's meant to be, and like having acceptance of that and having full health. And, and it's, to me, it's waiting for the invitation from intuition of as far as what I want to do with my health. It's that collaboration and getting like, my body is just the vehicle to get me. So for example, like intuitively feels good not to drink alcohol right now because, well, a few different reasons, but it's like I'm focused so much. Like, I know this year for the business is going to be the biggest year we've had. And I'm just like preparing for that. And so it just doesn't make sense to like have that in my system on a regular basis and to feel, tired or whatever. And like, I'm just like enjoying hydration, enjoying trying different types of drinks without alcohol. And like, so it's like, but I'm not doing that for weight loss. Like, weight loss is one of those lower level things. Like, I'm doing it for the purpose, and it's just like, is my body actually able, is it holding me and keeping me, is it allowing me to do my purpose every day? And you could ask yourself that. And obviously, like, if you experience pain or there's injury and like whatever, like, obviously I have that stuff too. But then it's like, okay, that is getting in the way of my purpose. And so then I take action on that. Right. And so sometimes what my clients also deal with is they have pain. And so the pain brings up the negative self-talk and the shame and the why can't I stay consistent and the fear of like, oh my gosh, my dad had cardiovascular disease at this age and I can't die and da da da. So it's like, again, that's where the hand holding goes in, because you need to like be able to feel that stuff, but also breathe past it and just like trust the process and continue to make, mindful, sound decisions that are aligned with yourself to actually get the result of living a pain-free life or, whatever it is. But it's small tweaks. It's not major, whatever, because that's a sign that it's coming from those lower level spaces and not, from the place that's really integrated and combined. So I think that's the gist of what I wanted to get into. So I hope it speaks to you right where you're at today, and just sending you so much love. Just trying to think if there's updates. I've been having a great time doing personal breakthrough sessions, either half day or full day on Zoom, in person, if desired. And just really going into the deeper constructs of what's actually been holding you back with food, body, and weight. So that's kind of like a new offering. It was always available, but it's been something that I've been like steadily and readily doing those sessions. And then there's the Fast Track to Freedom program. So being with a group of people, which is great, especially if you have like fears of what other people think about you. Just like social things come into that. But then also just a lot of times that wounding that I was talking about that created the root cause of your issue was around, some kind of not feeling good enough or like feeling insecure around how you're looking and da da da. So the group aspect is super powerful to just be like, I'm not alone. Other people have these same questions. Other people are having these same challenges. I get the added benefit of hearing the coaching from all the people as well as permanent weight loss. Our next healthy hypnosis hour is coming up next week, Wednesday, at 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you register for that. There will be a replay. There's always a replay available if you register. It's always a little bit different every time. This next healthy hypnosis hour, like I was saying, I have been working on just like getting better at communicating our mission and how we specifically help people. So it's not just like by chance you get this experience. It's like, you have the best chance to actually get it because, I'm able to communicate with you, all the aspects. So I've been working really diligently on creating a part of Healthy Hypnosis Hour. So you'll still get the signs of how hypnosis works. You'll get the hypnosis for weight loss session, but then also having a way better way to communicate how the actual program works and how it serves people. To just give you the best chance to have, what we're having on the inside, and to just really live your best, most authentic life, which is what I just want for any and all human beings. So I will keep beating this drum, and just thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this journey with me as I learn and grow as well. Literally could not continue with all of my personal understanding and development and to do what I've come here to do, which is to unattach people from this lower level vibration that we call weight loss, and to have people actually see what life looks like outside of that obsession, and to integrate health exactly as is being offered to you, and to trust in life and source that like you are safe and you're protected and you're not your parents and you're not your aunts or uncles. Like there is the genetics, but this work also gets to work on that kind of genetic level where you're clearing out these like things that are passed down. Like even my client who had a father with cardiovascular disease, just thinking it's like, okay, there's the food and weight aspect, but there's also the emotional aspect. Anger is associated with cardiovascular disease. Diabetes is associated with depression and sadness. So these emotions hanging out in the background that, like, if you look at it, it's like, oh, like there was, you know, narcissism or mental health issues or just depression and anxiety, you know, in my family. And yes, there was also these diseases, but they're correlated. So again, I left nursing to actually start working with people on the emotionality of what's going on in the background to prevent those diseases in the future. So, and the weight is just a signal. It's a way in. It's a way to, it's like whatever, again, that's knocking at the door. It's like, this is the thing to pay attention to, not the thing to ignore or slap a Band-Aid on with a diet, but to actually holistically take action on it and take it seriously. Because your survival and your health and your longevity and being able to be with your kids forever and whatever is really depending on you having a cleared out emotional system and, you know, dealing with life powerfully versus numbing it away or, again, slapping that Band-Aid on. So definitely get yourself a call booked if you haven't. My calendar, it's looking still good for August, September. A bunch of travel and NLP training. There's still one more spot left if you want to get certified in NLP coaching, timeline therapy, and hypnosis. And then I'm also starting a NLP mastery group. So that's going to be over a period of time, actually practicing the tools and, getting that experience with coaching and being able to watch me coach and this type of thing as well. So yeah, the best way to just find out what the best thing for you is, which I'm 100% sure there's something for everybody. And I'm always just happy to take a look and ask you more questions just to see what's at the source of your challenge and get you what you need. But you can book a call, hpwl.info/book a call. And other than that, I hope to see you at Healthy Hypnosis Hour very soon. And we'll see you next time. If you are serious about taking action on your struggle with food, body, and weight, then this is for you. Go ahead and text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483. Immediately after texting that number, you will get access to our free training that will tell you why you can't figure the food, body, and weight thing out, why you can't keep weight off even after you've been successful in the past, and how to actually overcome it, including a mini hypnosis session at the end. Don't miss out. Text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483.